Hi, welcome to another video, and in this video we're going to be looking at isometric drawing. So in this video we're going to be giving you, or I'm going to be giving you, an introduction to isometric drawing in AutoCAD. Now in this video I'm using version 2020, but the principles remain the same from 2010 onwards to 2025. Now the first thing that you're going to do, or the first thing that you need to know, let me shift my timer here, probably in the middle. Whenever you're producing isometric drawing, and remember that isometric drawings are typically done at an angle of 35 degrees. If you haven't already seen my presentation on isometric drawing, I suggest watching that one, and the presentation is always in the description as well. Now, before we get into things, I wanted to go ahead, leave a like, share with a friend so they can understand how to produce isometric drawing in the most accurate way in AutoCAD. Now, in isometric drawing, and some people might say, okay, isometric drawing is easy. All you need to do is draw lines at 30 degree and all that stuff. But that's not, you don't need to put yourself through so much worries, all right? And I always say, this program here is worth what, almost 2,000 US dollars per year. All right, so just about anything that you can think about, they have designed in a way to make your life a lot easier. Now they have a function designed for creating isometric drawing. Now this function here is known as your ISO mode. All right, now you can turn this on and off as needed. All right, and how do we find this? Now if you look down here in your in this bar, in this region here, if you can see it, all right, this area here, you'll notice that you have the model space, you have the grid snap, among other things. You have your restrict cursor, you have your other restrict cursor when it relates to angles, alright, and this is typically how persons would utilize or draw isometric drawing by simply selecting this 30-degree line, 30-degree angle there, and simply drawing lines at 30-degree whenever they're going to be producing their isometric drawing. However, there is a downside to this, and it might seem as if it's good, but nothing is wrong with it, But if you're in a pickle where you're rushing things, it's easy to get a bit messed up. Now, I always say, once you see a green line, it means that you're in the safe. You can go ahead and click. But in some cases, you might shift your cursor accidentally, as you see there's no green line there now, and you didn't realize, and you accidentally click. And when you click, instead of that line being 30 degrees, it is now something else. And then at the end of the drawing, you're going to realize that, oh, something is off. Why aren't they touching? Why is this over there? It's because of a reason like that. All right. So if you don't see the 30 degree, or the, what you call this again? Your green snap line there, that is telling you that, yes, the line is at 30 degree, then it means that it's not at 30 degree. That's your go ahead. Green is go. Green tells you that you need to move along and do what you have to do. Alright, so apart from this, and I rarely use this method here, I mainly use the ISO mode. Now the ISO mode can be found right beside your restrict cursor to angle. I call this polar tracking. Alright, when I was learning AutoCAD, that's what it was called, polar tracking. Now beside it, we have our ISO mode here. Now you can turn it on and turn it off. Now once you click on it, it should turn blue, and once the color change, your ISO mode has been activated, and you realize that your cursor has now changed. Alright, now this will allow you to draw your isometric drawing pretty easy. Now along with having the ISO mode, I always encourage person as well to also turn on ortho as well. So what ortho mode does, it actually restricts your cursor to only draw vertical line and horizontal line, or lines that are at 90 degrees to each other, if that makes sense. Now, in your ISO mode, if you click on this drop down menu here, you'll see three different options. You'll see ISO left, ISO top, and ISO right. Alright, now I'm going to explain those shortly. Now these assist you in drawing each side or each phase or each dimension of your isometric drawing. Now how does this work? This works by you either selecting ISO top, and I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate what I am talking about here. So let me go ahead and click on my line tool here. Now to select each isoplane, you can toggle between them by I think pressing F5, and it will switch between ISO left, ISO top, and ISO right, but it will cycle through the process. So if you want to use ISO right, then it means that you have to press ISO, the switch F5 button 2 times. But if you're in the middle and you want to get to ISO left, it means that you have to toggle. So when you press it 1 time, it will go to ISO right, press it again, and it will go to ISO left. So it will also always be cycling through to get to where you want. Alright, I don't use that method. I simply click on the drop down menu and go ahead and select the plane that I want. So starting with ISO left allows you to draw a line on the left side of your drawing, or the left plane of your drawing. So for example, if I'm going to be drawing a rectangle, right? And again, I always turn on ortho here because it will restrict my cursor, limiting the chance of me making a mistake. So I'll go here and click, and then I move my cursor down. It will only allow my cursor to move sideways like this and down like this. Alright, so let's enter some numbers. So let's enter, say, 50, right? And then all I simply do is move my cursor in the other direction, 50, up 50, and then back this way 50. Alright, so there you go. This will allow you to draw on the left side of your drawing. Alright, as you can see here. So this is ISO left. If you want to draw on the right side of your drawing, you have to select the one that says ISO right. So if you click on ISO right, it will allow you to draw the opposite of what this is. So now if I'm going to be drawing something to my right, I go ahead, let me go enter 50 here, move my cursor to the right, 50. Likewise, if you move it to the left, it's the same thing. Alright, up 50, and then back this way 50. And again, you can always use O snap and all those stuff as well. So we have ISO left on this side, we have ISO right on this side. Now the other main or other ISO mode is the ISO top, which allows you to draw isometric drawing from a top view perspective, if you want to think about it like that. Alright, and you'll notice that my cursor is changing with the different ISO modes. Alright, and this you can use it to guide you when you're drawing. Okay, I'm drawing on the left, so let's move to ISO left, right, ISO right. So let's draw another rectangle. So I'm going to go to the top here, and I'm going to click, move my cursor to the left or the right, enter my measurement, 50, this way 50. So all I'm doing is move my cursor in the direction that I want the line to go. Alright, and this is the power of ortho. Alright, back this direction, 50. Alright, so as you can see, I have four sides of my drawing here. Alright, so this is how you basically use ISO left on the left here. ISO left, and let me go there. ISO left allows you to draw on the left side of your isometric drawing. ISO top allows you to draw from a top view perspective. Notice how my cursor has changed. And ISO right allows you to draw on the right side. So let's put things together here. Alright, so starting, I'm going to be putting my box together now. So I'm going to draw a rectangle down, 50. Rectangle to the right, 50. Or line to the right, 50. 50 again. Then back this way, 50. Alright, so that was ISO right. So now if I go to ISO top, I now be able to draw the top portion. So if I do something like this and go here, click, move my cursor to the left side there, enter 50, move towards me or to the left, 50, then back this way, 50. Alright, there we go. Now to draw the other side or the ISO left portion, we simply switch to ISO left. I think I accidentally select right. So I'm going to ISO left, Now I'm able to draw the remaining side of my little rectangle, sorry, or cube right here. 50 and then 50. This is my cube. Now, this is basically the basic foundation for creating all isometric drawing. Being able to create a simple box just as this, because you're utilizing 3 key features in your ISO mode. Alright? Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is showing you how to add circles and curves, because that's one of the other things that you'll have to draw a lot. Circles and curve. Now it's easy to go ahead and say, alright, let's select that and draw a circle. But this will not be an isometric circle. So this method is totally out of the picture right now. Alright, we can't do it that way. Now, in order to do isometric circle, instead of using a circle, we use an ellipse. Alright, now how do we use this ellipse to create what we want? We simply go here to ellipse, and I'm going to click on the drop down here, and I'm going to select the one that says ellipse by center. Alright, so I'm going to click on it. Click. Alright, now you realize that it says ellipse down here. Alright, now for some reason in AutoCAD it does not automatically takes you to the ellipse function, because now if I'm going to be drawing an ellipse, you realize that it doesn't even match up with this. It's the same treatment as if I was drawing a circle. It's just that it's an ellipse now, because there's more features that are more things that we need to do. So what do? We go here, select our or ellipse tool. Then I normally select on the drop down here and reselect ellipse. But bear in mind that you could always just enter ellipse, exit, and then enter ellipse again, and then you'll be greeted by this function here, or this window here. Now in your command line you'll see ellipse specify axis endpoint of the ellipse. Alright, or arc, center, or isocircle. Alright, now the one that you're going to select by clicking, is the one that says isocircle. Once you click on isocircle, now you will be able to draw an ellipse. Alright, so if I wanted to draw an ellipse on this side of this cube here, I'll simply click, and then I'll create my little ellipse, and you realize that my ellipse is now on the side of this here. Now because I was on iso left, it allowed me to draw the ellipse or the circle on the left side. If I wanted to do the same thing on the right hand side, it will be the same exact principle. Let me demonstrate. We go here to iso right. We're going to go to our ellipse tool again. We're going to reactivate our ellipse function here and select ellipse. Alright, or you could just simply type EL and then enter. It will show up all of this here. Then I simply select isocircle, click, and then draw my little circle on that side. If I wanted to do it for the top, it's the same exact principle. We go ellipse, alright, escape, and you can press enter again, and it will activate this function here. Alright, all you have to do is just activate the ellipse tool, exit it, and then activate it again, and then it will bring up this section here. Alright, now I go to isocircle, click, open my cursor, and then I have my circle on top here. Alright, please bear in mind that whenever you're drawing anything or anything circular related, what you should be concerning yourself is where the center is. Now if you're giving dimensions for your ellipse, then you enter the value. Alright, so if they say that the ellipse or the circle should be 10, then you know you have to enter 10, whether it's the diameter or the radius. Alright, so let me kick things up a notch now. Alright, and it is to add curvature to circular or rectangular, or should I say rectangular, or figures in general. So we're trying to add some curvature here. Alright, so say for example, because we know how to put the circles on the side, which could in turn be basically holes if you want to think about it like that. So say for example, there is a hole somewhere here, right? and I'm just doing this for depth purpose only, so you can see what I'm talking about. So say this is a hole in our little cube here. Alright, this will allow us to do that, alright, by drawing the circle to represent all that stuff. Alright, also something to note for the curvature portion. Say for example I want to chamfer this in here, right? I want to chamfer this in here. Now you have many options. You can fillet it using a radius and it will work fine, alright, or you could utilize the circle function as well. So say for example that is 50, right, and I want to have a curvature here of say 15, right? What you can do, and this goes for any circular object, is that in order for you to place a circle somewhere, you need to find out where the center of the circle is. That's one of the most easiest way to do things. Alright, so say for example I want a curvature here running to my right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to switch to ISO left, because I'm working on the left side here, and I'm going to add some little reference line. Alright, something to note as well, the offset command don't work properly in ISO mode or when you're doing isometric drawing. For instance, if I go offset and press enter, and then I enter, what was the measurement I'm using, 15, and click on this, you realize that it's offsetted to the side somewhat. Alright, when you check, if you check the measurement, let me see if I can use something else. Align. So even though I offsetted it 15, it is at 17. So offset function does not work properly during your ISO whenever you're producing isometric drawing. Now the method that I encourage person to use is the copy method. So simply click on copy, click on the line that you want to copy, confirm by either right clicking or press enter or press the space key, whichever method you choose. You select your base point as usual wherever your base point is, and then because ortho is turned on, you realize that it is not moving in relation to up and down, it is just moving along that plane there. So if I enter 15 now, it will be exactly where it should be. So if I now remeasure this now, I should be getting what? 15. Alright, and the last same treatment here, CP down, and then enter your distance, 15. Now I know where the center of that curvature is going to be. So now all I have to do is go ahead and select ellipse, escape, and then reactivate your ellipse function, and then select iso circle, then go to the center and simply, let me do that again, iso circle, click in the center, and then open your cursor to where it needs to be. And you realize that it is now perfectly curved. So all you have to do at this point now is to simply trim what needs to be trimmed away, clean up your drawing. And this goes for all curvatures that you might want to do. Now, to get this on the other side here, you can either do two things. You can either switch to ISO right and then make a copy of it, because remember offset don't really work. Alright, or you can just, once you have a reference point, you can always simply use that as your base points. For example, from there to this corner right here. Alright, and that will easily fix my little problem there. And now I can erase my little reference line there, trim what needs to be trimmed. So for example, this is my cutting plane, this is my cutting plane right here. I trim away here and here, here and here, and now I can get rid of this. Now this object here has its curvature. Alright, it is now curved, as you can see. Alright, and for the holes it's the same exact treatment. Alright, now just before we go, I'm going to touch on how to dimension isometric drawing. You're going to use this one here, so you go to your annotation tab, select the dimension function that says align. What this does, it will align to whichever angle your object is. Now this here is 50. Now if you're looking at this now, you realize that the 50 is a bit crooked, or the dimensioning is a bit crooked. So what do? you're going to do something that we like to call dim edit or dim align. No, it's called dim align. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to type dim edit. Once we click on dim edit, you'll see this one here, dim edit. Click on that one there. Then you're going to select the one that says oblique. Now there's two methods of doing this. You can enter the angle, or you can select the plane that you want to align it to. Let me do both. Now the first one is, or the angle that you want to use is, has to do with 90 degree, 30 degree, and I think 120 degree. Those are the angles, because those are the angles that you basically draw in when you're producing isometric drawing. So to make it completely vertical, I believe you have to enter 90 degree, and it will set it like that. Alright, now if I were to do the other side, I'm going to show you how we'll do the other method. So we click on that, we're going to type dim edit again, select oblique, and then now all you're going to do is select the plane, because if you want it to go completely vertical, you select a plane. So for example, this line that is completely vertical, click somewhere here and then click on another point that is on that same plane, and it will straighten it up for you. Alright, likewise if you want it to be horizontally or whatever. Alright, so this is how you'll basically treat it. So for example, say for example I want a dimension, say here and here, right? And I want it to be completely flat. If I want it to be completely flat, it means that I'm going to go let me click on that, dim edit. Alright, then click on oblique. Now I can enter the angle. Now the angle that you could enter here would be, I think, 30 flat. I'll go here, click on it, type dim edit, then select oblique, then I click the line or the plane that I want to align it to. So I want it to be flat with here, so I simply click from there, somewhere there, and it will flat it out like that. Alright, so this is basically how you'll go ahead and dimension your isometric drawing. The more complex the drawing is, the more work you have to do, but everything rests on these basic function here. Alright, everything rests on these basic function. Again, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video was helpful to you in creating your own isometric drawing based on these simple principles here. Now look out, if you haven't seen my introduction video, please go ahead and watch that. It will be linked down in the description. Again, see you in the next one.